Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Chip, and in today's video we're diving into a makeup tutorial, makeup swatches, makeup chit chat about the Abh and Norvina collection palette. This came in the mail a couple of days ago and I have just been dying to dive into it. So in today's video I'm going to show you swatches of the whole palette, this makeup tutorial, and yeah, we'll just talk about my thoughts on this palette. So if you're interested to see this and just hear about this, then stay tuned and let's get into this video. Dive into what the Abh Norvina palette looks like. This has been all over Instagram and Twitter, so I'm sure you've seen it, but if you haven't, then let's unbox it because she's pretty. So this is the outer packaging. So gorgeous. I am loving it. Okay, so on the back of the package, it does give you a list of all of the eyeshadows, including at the bottom, it does say that this is vegan and cruelty-free. Let's see what else. It says this lasts up to 18 months, and yeah, it says Norvina Pro Pigment Palette Volume 1. Okay, so when you open it out of the package, it does come kind of covered in like this black type of cardboard, and then you just open up the cardboard and there's a little piece of paper here, and this says that a few of the shades that are in this palette, there's a warning and it says not intended for use around the immediate eye area, and this is because of some of the pressed pigments that are in this palette. But I haven't had a reaction to that, but if you do have a reaction to those type of eyeshadows, then I wouldn't purchase this palette because it is quite a bit of shadows, and I will list them up above if you're curious, and you can just like keep track of them when we do swatches. But this is the palette, and what I love about this, and I just love companies that do this, but they carried the packaging design to the palette, which is amazing. So this is a close-up of the palette. Again, you have that purple and the gold accent. So pretty. You can see my office there. So yeah, this is just stunning. I fell in love with the packaging when I first saw this. So pretty. Okay, so let's give this an open. So this is also magnetic, and it's a really strong magnetic closure for this palette. Like, I'm having to use two hands, but like, it's strong. It's strong. Okay, so when you open up the palette, you do get a plastic protective kind of slip over your shades, and you do also get a really decent sized mirror in this palette. I don't want to blind you, but this is what the size of it, like, it's nice, and it's so clear. It is so clear. Gorgeous. Now the palette does stand up by itself, so you can do it very 90-degree angle or just bend it back, and it does stand up. So that is really nice. I appreciate that. Now this does not bend all the way back, so please don't try to do that. But yeah, it does stand up, which I think is great. And let me show you the shades. Let me cover up the mirror. So here are the shades in the Pro Pigment Palette Volume 1 from Abh and Norvina. So pretty. I love this color story. It is just gorgeous. Now, a running concern with this palette is that these shades look very similar to what we've seen in other Abh palettes in Riviera, Modern Renaissance, Alyssa Edwards, Sultry. Like, we've seen these shades, but now it's a bigger palette. There are some new shades in here. So yeah, so I feel like, I don't know, if you have the other palettes, which I do you need this one? Do you really need it? No. But if you collect palettes, if you are a makeup enthusiast, thank you, Debbie. I used to say makeup addict, and Debbie from Debbie Knobloch, I'll leave her channel below and up above. She was like, no, let's use makeup enthusiast. And I was like, okay, That sounds better. That sounds better. So if you are a makeup enthusiast, then yeah, this palette, you'll be drawn to it because it is stunning. It is very stunning. It is gorgeous. You'll love just playing with this palette. And yeah, so the color options are amazing. The range is amazing. So this palette is currently $60. And again, you get 25 shades. So that's about $2.40 per shade. And each shade is 1.8 grams. So I'll also leave at the top what their typical pan size is in like their Modern Renaissance or their normal palettes that they've been releasing lately. And I'll let you know this, like the size difference, because this does say that it is like deluxe or like a bigger pan size. So yeah, that information will be right here. And again, I just want to reiterate that there are some shades in this palette that have been deemed not eye safe. And I think that's because of this pressed pigment formulation. So just also keep that in mind if you are interested to purchasing this. But again, I have been using pressed pigments for a while and I have never gotten a reaction. But that is just me, that is just my eyes. You know what's best for you. So just make a very informed decision about this item before you purchase it. So with that being said, let's jump into swatches, because again, this color story is just so bright, so vibrant, so pigmented, and I am just super excited to share with you what this looks like on dark skin tone. So let's jump into swatches. So here are the top 5 shades of the palette. These are all A's. So the top one is A1. This is a metallic lilac with a cool pink reflect. And then A2, this is a matte mid-tone vivid purple or violet. A3 is a matte rich plum, which is a pressed pigment. A4 is a metallic gold copper. And then lastly, A5 is a matte vibrant warm candy pink, which is also a pressed pigment. Okay, so here is the next row. Now these are all B shades. So the top one is B1. B1 is a matte vivid lilac, and this is a pressed pigment. And then B2 is a metallic rosy bronze with gold sparkles. And I really love the way that that catches the light. It is so pretty. Along with B3, which is also metallic, and this is a platinum rose with gold sparkles. So gorgeous. And then we have B4, which is a matte deep cool violet, which is also a pressed pigment. And then we have the last one, which is B5, and this is a matte deep cool plum and also a pressed pigment. So here are the next shades in the palette. This is row C. So starting with the top, this is C1, which is a matte bright white. And then we have C2, which is a metallic yellow gold, absolutely stunning. And then we have C3, which is a metallic deep rose gold with gold sparkles. So pretty. I just love the way these metallics are catching to the light. It's so gorgeous. And then C4 is a matte mauve plum, which is a pressed pigment. And then C5 is a matte burnt sienna brown, which is also a pressed pigment. So here's the next row of swatches from the palette. This is the D row. So starting at the top, we have D1, which is a matte primary yellow. We have D2, which is a shimmery blue purple and also a pressed pigment. D3 is a matte primary red, also a pressed pigment. D4 is a sparkling matte primary blue with blue sparkles. So you can see the light is catching this like blue glitter. Stunning. That is also a pressed pigment. Oh, that is so nice. And then lastly, we have D5, which is a matte black and also a pressed pigment. And here is the last row of swatches from the palette. So this is the E row. So E1 is a shimmering peach gold, and that is also a pressed pigment. And then we have E2, which is a matte pastel orange, and that is also a pressed pigment. And then we have E3, which is a matte orch yellow. I would say this is almost like a mustardy yellow. And then we have E4, which is a matte neon orange, a pressed pigment. And then lastly, the last shade out of the palette is E5, and this is a matte oxblood, and that is also a pressed pigment. Honestly, I am loving the color combination in this palette. Each row, when I was swatching it, I was like, I can make a look, like a different look with each row. I can go row, I can pick and choose whichever color I want. So I am really excited to play with this palette a little bit more. So I think the mattes are pretty good. They're definitely ABH formula, very soft, very buttery. Depending on how you use it, you might get some fallout. So I would recommend to do your eyes first and then do your face. But you can also avoid that if you just tap off the excess if you prefer to do your face first. But I would have to say the metallics and the shimmers in this palette are just outstanding. I am so excited to give them a try, but I do like the color story. I know there are probably some shades in here, and I think Sienna is just like a reoccurring shade in most of the ABH palettes. So if you do have all the other palettes, would this technically be like a must-have? I wouldn't say so. I feel like you can definitely find most, if not all, of these shades in one of the other palettes, like the Riviera, the Alyssa Edward palette, Modern Renaissance, even the Sultry. So I think you can definitely find these shades. However, as a collector, I did want to pick up this palette because I thought it was just stunning. It definitely called to me. It makes me feel very creative when I look at it, which I love in a product. And yeah, I love it. I love the palette. I have no regrets purchasing it. It is stunning. And as far as creating my eye look today, I did use 4 shades out of this palette. I forgot for a second. I did use 4 shades out of this palette and I loved it. I think they blended out really well. They placed on the eyelid really well and they blended together also very easily. So that is a plus for me, and definitely I can see myself creating so many different looks with this palette. So I am excited, and I do love this very reddish, sunsetty toned look that I did. Okay, so that's all I have about this palette. I really hope you enjoyed my tutorial and swatches. And if you have this palette, what do you think of yours? And yeah, if you're interested in it, if you are interested in this palette, then let's just get to talking down below. I really love just talking makeup with you guys. It is super fun to chat with you in the comments. And that is all I have for this video. So I will see you guys in my next one. Bye. Mwah.